Okay, so Split. Split follows the story of a young woman named Casey, and after she and her friends are abducted by an unknown man, they find themselves awakening within an unfamiliar room where they are kept from civilization. And from there, they try to reach out for help in any way they can, only to find out that this guy that abducted them has a few personalities out of the 23 that he has in his body. And Casey uses those personalities in a way for where she can get out of the place that she's being held captive in, so maybe her damnation could be her salvation. Unknowing that Kevin has a much bigger plan for them, Casey and her friends try to escape before the inevitable 24th personality is unleashed. So Split is the newest film written and directed by the most controversial director that we know today, M. Night Shyamalan, the creator of such masterpieces like The Last Airbender and The Happening and Lady in the Water. Such amazing films. And I'm sure that most people on this website have covered the fact that this guy used to be like the next great director slash storyteller, but eventually in his career, like a couple screws went loose, and then eventually a lot of screws went loose, and then he just went off course big time. And I really felt bad for the guy because he had such an incredible imagination. He had amazing original ideas, but just the execution of them just really wasn't all that great. A couple years ago, he directed the movie The Visit, which I thought was okay at best, but now we have Split, which I thought was better than okay. It was pretty solid. Split was one of those movies where I feel like we needed in January, like the month that's just notorious for having so many shit films. I mean, granted, I just haven't seen any of them quite yet. At least for this year, that is. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that is gonna be the meme till the end of time, but whether we like it or not, it is what it is. But Split is a very well-made and directed film. The blend of horror slash thriller when showing the captive women could be very unsettling at times, but also that the mystery element to it when we're learning about Kevin's different personalities and where they're conjured up from. And the film knows that it's leading into something because it really takes its time to expand on certain characters and their backstories to really build the tone throughout. It's pretty consistent from beginning to end. And when the film does get ridiculous as it may seem, it absolutely plays off of that in particular scenes, but then it immediately says like, hey, pay attention because this is happening and this is extremely vital to the story. I just love when a film is self-aware, but it also requires a little bit of brain power to really analyze what's really going on in certain situations. Split is one of those films. Now, M. Night Shyamalan was able to bring Split to life in his somewhat brilliance of his direction. I'll get back to that somewhat part in a bit, but easily the main star of the film is James McAvoy, bringing forth all these very unique and crazy personalities that only a very highly skilled actor can pull off. James McAvoy absolutely proves that he's a high caliber actor, just how all over the place he really was in terms of character. His method of changing accents and his walking abilities showed that he was the right man for the job. It was the type of performance that requires everything that you got, every method that you require for in an actor, you see in James McAvoy in Split, and he was great. And then you have Anya Taylor-Joy as the leading lady, and I was very surprised on how she plays off of James McAvoy's character and just her character in general. It wasn't just like the James McAvoy show or whatever, I mean, although that is kind of is the selling point of the film, but she had her own character and her own story to follow, and she was pretty interesting in retrospect. I guarantee you're gonna see more of Anya Taylor-Joy in the future. And then you have Betty Buckley as James McAvoy's psychiatrist, and she elevates certain exposition points of the film. She was pretty cool. But the only complaints that I have in acting wise is those two girls that Anya Taylor-Joy is locked up with, because we have one that's either overacting or one that is underacting. You know when you can tell when an actor is trying too hard or not really giving a shit? You absolutely see that in those two characters. It's really weird. It just makes certain situations feel unrealistic in a sense, because like this girl, like come on, like looks somewhat frightened. Other than that, it's a pretty well acted movie throughout. Besides those two, it's more like M. Night Shyamalan's fault for that. But since his direction shouldn't really be bashed too much for the film, because there was a really unique approach to the way how he shot this film. When it came to James McAvoy's several personalities, the cinematography and certain camera angles were all done differently as if they had a personality of their own. And it was a genius touch on Shyamalan's part, because you want to express your character's emotions visually, and I guarantee you each placement of the shot said a lot more about Kevin's character than any dialogue ever could. It's just a filmmaking approach that makes Shyamalan a really creative director. Is it his best film? No. Is it his best film that he's made in the last couple of years? Absolutely. I'm kind of glad he's making that comeback. Because I say, if you want to see Split, it is definitely worth seeing at the matinee price. Or if you guys are just chilling, hanging out with your friends, it's absolutely worth seeing at the full admission as well. Thank you guys so much for watching my review for Split, and I want to know what your guys' thoughts are about the film, and what is your favorite M. Night Shyamalan film to date? We can have that discussion down below. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and all that social media shit down below. Keep in contact with me. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And as always, guys, may the Force be with you.